Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Fairy Tail Chapter 367. And in the beginning of this chapter, Natsu gets stripped just like Urza was, and thrown into a cell. But it turns out that inside that cell as well is Lisana. Okay, so Lisana ended up getting captured, which means Elfman did in fact give his soul to Sayla, whose name is spelled differently now because Manga Stream does that a lot with Tartarus guys. Um, However, if I say her name with my bad Japanese accent, then you kind of can't tell since R's and L's are like the same. So Sayla, you can't really tell. But yeah, she doesn't come in for a little bit longer. Natsu and Lisana. Those two get to talking while they're in there. And Lisana's naked too, by the way. She was stripped. Tartarus really likes stripping people. No, Eiichiro Mashima, they like stripping people. Uh, but Natsu and Lisana get to talking, and they actually get a little bit of development here. It's not nearly enough to make up for the last few years that they didn't get any at all, but they do get some, which is better than nothing. And Lisana mentions that she doesn't remember anything. So I get that has something to do with Seda, but I guess I don't know the details of how her macro works. So I know she can control people, but can she like control memories as well, like erase memories? Like I don't know how I don't know how much she can control someone, like what to what extent she can control someone. So I don't, Santa definitely has something to do with that, but I don't know if it's like maybe it wasn't directly, maybe it was just like the stress or something. Like she's just like caught, I don't know, maybe it's just her mind repressing the memories or something, who knows. But the point is she doesn't remember anything, and that probably has something to do with Santa, but it might not. Um, we see Lisana here kind of acting like Juvia was, and we see Natsu acting like Gray was. Last chapter of the chapter before. Julia and Lisana, they're thinking, Tartarus. These guys are trouble. We've never fought someone like this except for like Echnologia, but like other than the freaking dragon. This is the I'm trying to think. I'm trying to compare this scenario to the Grand Magic games and the dragon showing up there, but they were getting their butts kicked. It's just freaking gate. Yeah, I'm not even going to include that, right? The point, this is like the toughest fight they've had, pretty much except for Echnologia, and the two of them realize that, and they're being pretty realistic about the situation, saying, we might not win this. We are in serious trouble. I honestly don't know how we're going to get through this. And both Natsu and Gray are saying, don't worry. They're comforting them, and they're just saying, don't worry. We're fairy tale. We ha- we will come out on top. We have to. We have to, and we will. And that's how it's been before. That's how it's going to continue to be. We're fairy tale. We'll do this. Don't give up. We're here. That's all. That's what else do you need? they're just trying to comfort them. So I thought that was really cool to see how these two are kind of getting more attached to their respective love interests, even though Natsu and Lisana haven't acted like love interests, but they still technically are. And at the end of their little conversation, Lisana asks herself, "What should I do?" Which I was that I the reason that line popped out to me is because Hiramashima could have had her say something like, "What should we do? Like, how should we get out of this situation where we can't use magic, we're handcuffed, what should we do?" But he didn't. He specifically had Lisana say, "What should I do?" Which makes me think that in this arc, she may actually have a role. Because in the last arc, she's had like minor roles, but not really. Like, I'm thinking that in this arc, she might actually have a legitimate role, which is good to see because she had an entire arc, like in Aedolas, that was pretty much all about her. I mean, not really, but not. I mean, yeah, not really, but like Aedolas arc. The point of the Aedolas arc is her coming back. That's the big thing you get out of it. Lisana's back. She's alive and she's back. So you would think she'd be a major character, but she hasn't done anything. she was in the S class, whatever S class exam, but I don't even remember whose partner she was. Like, it's that bad. Oh, it might have been Juvie. No, no, yes, it was Juvie, I think. I think all their fights and things were like off screen. Like they did. Lisana ended up getting saved by Mira Jane, and her and Juvie's fight against Urza was off screen for the most part. I mean, she wasn't really relevant in that arc either. So, I mean, she didn't compete in the Grand Magic Games. Lisana has been pretty much irrelevant ever since she came back, which makes you think why is she back? But you know, this arc, I'm probably I'm probably looking into it too much, but I don't know. I'm just hoping she has a role in this arc because she's actually thinking to herself, what should I do? So for Hiromashima to put a line in like that, I'm thinking it's some kind of foreshadowing to her actually doing something. But yeah, after that scene with those two is when we get to Sayla, and she's talking with Kyoka. Kyoka mentions that Crawford has this magical thing called Super Archive, which reminds me of what's his name from Blue Pegasus? Ren? No, no, Ren's the one that's with Sherry. No, not Eve. Eve's the loser. Uh, Ibiki? Yeah, Hibiki. I think that's his name, Hibiki. Um, Hibiki's magic. Crawford probably just has a powered up version of Hibiki's magic or something like that, and that's how they're getting a bunch of information, including who the last key is, which is what Sayla is asking about. And she says that now that they know who the last key is, they don't have to go through all this useless killing now, which caught me off guard since she's the one who said that stories of demons in stories of demons there's no pity or anything like that. So I thought that she'd be one of those people who just didn't give a crap, but I guess she doesn't give a crap unless the only time she doesn't give a crap is when there's kind of a reason for doing it. If she has a reason for doing it, then she just doesn't care what kind of pain she causes. But if she doesn't have a reason, then she doesn't like it. But still, that still caught me off guard though. Like I still don't really see how you can do both. Like whatever. Who cares? Um, yeah, Kyoka tells her about Jalal. She says that she'll probably get the information out of Urza soon, Urza doesn't know any information about Jalal, so there's nothing to get. But whatever. We learned that the name of Santa's curse is Macro, which she said the name before, but she kind of used it. The way she used it, it was like something like a dead man's macro or something like that. Like it sounded more like a thing than the name of her curse, her actual ability. So now we know it's the name of her ability. Um, she says that she's preparing something to beat Fairy Tail with. So that's something to look forward to. Sayla is gonna do something. Um, I I don't want to think that that whole big plan she came up with was just Elfman. I really don't want to think that, but it probably is. That's kind of disappointing. But yeah, I was hoping her big plan would be a little bit more than that. Elfman going in to a place that includes multiple members of Fairy Tail, including Makarov, one of the 10 Wizard Saints, or at least he was before the time skip. That isn't actually a time skip. So I mean, there's no way Elfman's gonna beat anybody. All Makarov has to do is grow his hands and then push him to the ground. That's hold him down like that. Makarov could just sit on him. Like that would be it. I'm I'm hoping her plan is more than just that. Um, but yeah, she says that she has this big plan to beat Fairy Tail, and Kyoka says she's going to take care of Sayla. So I thought the first time I heard that, I just kind of laughed, but I didn't expect her to actually do something with it. But then we saw Sayla lying naked in a bed at the end of the chapter, so he kind of went the way I thought he was going to go with it. Which is funny because Kyoka actually says in this chapter Sayla says in this chapter that Kyoka is good at getting people to open their mouths. She didn't exactly mention the kind of sounds they'd be making, but she did say she's that Kyoka's good at making people open their mouths. So like, this the subtle things in this chapter. I just found that stuff funny. Classic Hiro Mashima. Um, After that, I'm pretty sure was the stuff with Jalal and the Racion Seis. Um, he's losing against them, which is no surprise. And he does manage to not really turn the tables, but he manages to land a punch on Racer. That's, I mean, cool, but it's not exactly an accomplishment. Oh, I mean, it is, but he's still losing. Like he's still not gonna win. Well, maybe he will, because he's trying to talk Nojutsu them and say like, oh, I can give you real freedom. I can give you the freedom you seek. Like he's trying to talk Nojutsu them. So maybe he will. I don't know. We see Brain wake up. So, oh, maybe he was never really unconscious to begin with. But either way, we see Brain with his eyes open, and he has this grin on his face. So he's definitely planning something. But maybe I don't know. Maybe he'll attack Hirasion Seis or something like that, and Jamal will protect them, and then they'll be won over. He'll win their hearts. Like I don't know. I hope it's not something lame like that, but it probably will be. Yeah. The last part of this chapter focuses on Fairy Tail. They're pretty much just stuck. They don't know what to do. They have no clue what's going on with their own guys. They don't know where Tartarus's base is, so they're stuck. And luckily for them, Happy comes in and fills them in on some stuff. Like, for instance, the base is a floating cube that is constantly moving. To be honest, I completely forgot about him. I really did. I completely forgot about him. I'm surprised Silver even let him go. Maybe he forgot about Happy too, like I did. Who knows? But speaking of Silver, actually, or not speaking of Silver, Happy decides not to tell Gray about Silver, and how Silver mentioned to Natsu after freezing him to not mention Gray's name. So Hiro wants to hold off on letting us know the history between those two, which I don't mind. Building it up slowly to get a good payoff in the end. Yeah, and this is when Sayla's plan comes in. Elfman walks in, being controlled by her. Says some stuff about destroying fairies or something like that. It's in the thumbnail. Yeah. And that's really it for the chapter. Like I said, Elfman's not going to beat those guys. It's like 50 on 1. Like, and this is freaking Elfman. Like, who has he? Oh, he beats freaking what's his face in the Grand Magic games. But that's like the only win. That's like the only win he has in the entire series. He beat the Cerberus guy, and he beat Lisana. Like, that's it. So I mean, I oh, this plan is gonna fail epically. Like, I don't get why Santa thought this was a good plan, but whatever. Maybe she's thinking like Kabuto, and like they won't be able to attack their own friend, even though Fairy Tail fights themselves all the time inside the guild, destroying it all the freaking time. I don't see what that's just not a good plan. I'm sorry, that's just not a good plan. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to talk about with this chapter. And I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because it wasn't exactly the most exciting Fairy Tail chapter, but stuff happened. We got stuff with Lisada and Natsu, Kyoka and Sarah. Fairy Tail's filled in thanks to Happy. Brain. The stuff did happen. The story did progress, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But yeah, that's it, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.